What's going on, guys? My name is Matt. Welcome to the first episode of Not a Sheep. I'm here with my boy John or Narwhal.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? I go by Narwhal, but yeah, like Matt said, we're here for the first ever episode of the Not a Sheep podcast. If you guys don't really know what it's about or what we're about, the first few minutes we want to tell you guys who we are, what we're into, so you guys can know us a little bit, and then we'll get right into the show. So, Matt, tell them what you do.
So my name is Matt Mogg. I'm a music producer I live just outside of Seattle, Washington. I'm 19 years old and I've been making music since I was about 14, 13. And my ultimate dream is to just eventually be a music producer, someone that is an artist myself, produces for other guys, and makes a living off of just being in the music industry.
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, I'm Narwhal. I am a podcast producer and host. My ultimate goal is to be an entertainer. I just want to be in front of the camera. That's really as simple as that. I don't care what I'm doing. I'd love to go on one of my dreams is a podcast nationwide tour, a live podcast. And for those of you who are coming from our other podcast called Peak to Middle School, this is the second show of the Farrar Productions family. So yeah, we hope to kind of grow multiple different shows simultaneously, and this show is mainly going to be about music.
Yeah.
And I think we've been talking about a lot how we want to go about this show and what exactly we want it to be about and how we want to kind of market it, I guess. And I think the best way is it's not going to be just music news or music drama, because there's already a ton of popular shows with that type of stuff. Would you say it's fair to say that this is more about just the art of music?
For sure. And that's kind of when it comes back to the name of Not a Sheep. And by that we basically just mean that we are not a sheep. We are not people that just do what everyone else does. We don't consume music the way everyone else does. We like to dive in deeper than most people do. And we're mainly going to be focusing on artists that stand out to us and aren't like the rest of us.
Yeah. And the ultimate goal is to really have this show be a place to shed light on artists who deserve more recognition or deserve more attention, who maybe are on the verge of blowing up. We've seen so many artists in the last couple years, especially through TikTok, skyrocket from nothing. And I think it'd be really cool if we can kind of showcase this talent to help facilitate that come up for a lot of people, because for a lot of people, that's all they need is just a platform, you know?
For sure, yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of the general idea. It's not going to be just hip hop, but as you guys can see from the posters on the YouTube version, we do listen to a lot of hip hop, but we listen to a lot of R&B, rock, and not any country. I
don't listen to any country personally, but
yeah. So yeah, I hope that's a good way to start it off, a little general idea. But like I said before, I'm not actually a music producer. I don't make any music myself, but I think I've been a video director and videographer for a long, long time, and I feel like maybe we thought the idea was maybe we could have different insights into some of the things in the music industry, and I don't know, hopefully bring a different perspective, whereas you're the one who really is in it and understands how it works, what these artists are going through, and maybe I can be the other perspective of
But at the same time, like you said, you've been doing music videos and you've worked with artists that are on the come up. So you do have a more inside perspective than the average person.
Yeah. And this episode is going to be just me and Matt, but we have already planned to have guests on. I think the goal for at least the first few months is to have every other episode be an artist. Now we'll see if we get to a point where maybe we run out of people we know or people that are willing to come to Seattle, because obviously we could do shows over Zoom or something, but
yeah,
I don't know. I'd like to have people here in the studio in person.
Sure. Yeah.
And then one more thing before we jump into this, every single episode of this show will have a full video version on YouTube, just like all those other big podcasts that you see clips of on YouTube. We have that. We edit every single episode, so be sure to check out the YouTube version. Is that enough?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so let's get into it. Do you want to explain kind of how we're going to structure the show?
Okay, so for each episode, we're going to have a lot of different segments, and we're usually going to start out with just generally what me and John have been listening to in the last week or so. And then we'll jump into like news articles and whatever's been going on in the music industry. But we also have some other fun segments. Like today I'm going to be doing an artist study on an artist that I've been listening to a lot. And I'll get more into that later. But and when we start having guests on the show, what I think is going to be fun is we have a lot of interesting ideas for questions, for performances they could be doing, and just letting them talk about whatever new music they have.
The way we want to start off every episode is just ask each other what we've been listening to. So Matt, what have you been listening to the last couple weeks? What's been new in your playlist?
Oh, okay. Over the last few weeks, so actually, my guy Adrian Stresso just dropped an EP like a week and a half ago, I think, and so I've been listening to that like on repeat. It's like 4 or 5 songs that I really like. Favorite song off that's called "Better Off" if someone wants to look that up. And another guy I've been listening to is my guy Devon Terrell, who makes like R&B hip hop, and I've been listening to like pretty much his entire catalog over the last few weeks, and that's kind of it. Besides that, just whatever new music I've heard. Like Jack Harlow dropped a remix to What's Poppin'.
Those
J.
are a
Cole.
lot of big names on that remix.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then also listening to like J. Cole's new song and a couple other stuff. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, speaking of that J. Cole song, he got a lot of backlash for that song. Like, what did you think about all that?
I mean, just off of my first listen when I heard it, I didn't think he said anything like out of line. I didn't know who he was referring to in the song.
Yeah.
The artist No Name. And I know she fired back and like dropped a response diss track on him. But when I heard J. Cole's song, I didn't take it as like a diss track.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's hard because we're two white males.
Yeah,
so it's
for
like
sure.
There are certain things where it's like I feel like I don't really have a perspective to give on this.
Yeah, and I don't mean
no
to be speaking on the issue. I just meant the way J. Cole like said stuff on the song.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess for those of you who don't really know, he came out with a song called Snow on the Bluff.
Yeah.
And it was essentially about, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a song about how on Twitter or social media he's seen with all this stuff going on about like the Black Lives Matter and all the shit going on in our country right now. He was kind of, I guess, calling this girl out in a way about saying he didn't like the way that she was going about presenting herself and her thoughts on social media, and that he thought there's, I guess, better, more productive ways to go about it.
Yeah, but yeah, totally. And I don't think he did it in an attacking way. I think he did it in like a respectful way. But it's such a sensitive topic. Like I understand like why she felt that way.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought it was kind of funny when people are like, literally within an hour of that song dropping, people are trying to cancel him. People are trying to like, there was all these hashtags to like get rid of J. Cole. I'm like, guys, he's done so much for
J.
like
Cole.
the world. Like I don't know. I mean, like I said, I obviously see why there's different perspectives there, but
yeah,
it seemed like he was doing it with good intentions.
There was literally a movement to cancel J. Cole and Kendrick. I
Yeah,
don't
what
know
did
where
Kendrick
Kendrick
do?
comes into this, but like I think it's just because they've both been silent on social media, but they've also been silent on social media their whole career.
Yeah.
Like
J. Cole tweets once every like
it's just
4
whenever
months.
he drops music, and like it's probably not even him, it's probably just someone on his team doing it. And like
Yeah.
Kendrick's the same way, but there's been photos of Kendrick at like rallies and stuff protesting. Like I'm sure he's doing his part. You know Kendrick, but
yeah, man. I don't know. It was just kind of I woke up and I'm like, people really want to cancel J. Cole? Like, shit. I don't know. But anyways, moving on here. I have been listening to, of course, Adrian Stresso, like you said. We're going to talk about his project a little bit more later in the episode.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you guys will hear more about that. But also the soundtrack to Scoob.
Scoob. That's fire.
I've never watched. I don't even like Scooby-Doo. Like I've publicly said on our other podcast many times I don't like Scooby-Doo. So I'll never watch the movie, but I saw that Token had a song in that soundtrack and I really like that. And yeah, and then there's a couple other, what's that other sweater?
Pink Sweats is another artist
Pink
I'm a
Sweats.
big fan of, and he's got a song on there that's super fire. Jack Harlow's got a song on there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other just like random pop songs that are good on there too.
Yeah, what I like about soundtrack albums specifically is they oftentimes they take they have every genre
For sure.
and
yeah.
it makes sense because it's a movie which is going to go through a bunch of different like acts and emotions, and it's cool when you see an album like this that has Jack Harlow and then it also has like some pop and
yeah, there's something for everyone on it.
yeah. I've also been listening to a lot of old Mac Miller. I don't know, I've been in a vibe recently of just like I listened to him when he was still alive, but I was never a diehard fan.
Yeah.
And I guess I've wanted to see what is the appeal of these, like why do they really love him so much? So I've kind of gone and actually listened to the albums in depth, like start to finish, and I see it now. I really like. I always liked him. I never disliked his music, but I was never a diehard, and I can really see why he's so amazing. And then also I guess just some black. I found this guy named Versace. Don't really know who he is, but I found a couple songs and they're pretty good. So
nice.
Oh, also Ace Hood. He's a guy who's been around in the hip hop scene forever, and he's really like one of those guys that I feel like there's certain names in hip hop where maybe you're not a fan, but you have to respect them. Like they've always just put out quality music, like meaningful music. They're always there. They're never involved in drama really. And I feel like Ace Hood is one of those guys. So.
Yeah, that's dope.
But yeah, anyways, that's about it for that. So now we're going to hop into just some of the things that have been going on in the music scene. You know, whatever we feel like talking about. So one thing we both are pretty passionate about is the Kenny Beats thing.
Yeah.
Now, by the time this episode drops, it's probably like
it's been a little bit.
It's been a month now or so, but we've wanted to talk about it, and this is when we launched the show. But for those who don't know, do you want to explain what happened?
Yeah, so there was this kid. There was this meme actually of this kid recording. He's like an 11-year-old kid or something like that. Like he had his phone hanging down from his bunk bed, and the picture was like, my son's supposed to be cleaning his room, instead he's in the studio, and it's just like him recording on his phone. And so like the meme went viral, and then Kenny Beats saw it, and him and a bunch of other artists and producers decided to just throw a bunch of money together and send him like a MacBook, send him all this super nice music equipment.
Headphones.
So now he has his own like actual home studio.
Yeah, that's so sick.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it really shows that, like you and I were talking about this off air, but it shows that like in this day and age, if you want to make music, you can make it you can make a song on your phone if you really want to it. And it just shows the dedication that kid was like, because I remember the days when I wanted to make, I mean, I've always had a passion for making videos, and I still make videos, obviously. But back, I had like a shitty laptop, and I was making these videos with like a webcam on my laptop, and
like bringing your laptop.
Yeah, and so I felt that kid. It's like he doesn't have anything else, so he's gonna make a song on his iPhone hanging off his bed.
Yeah, that's like why Kenny Beats did it, is because he saw that like this kid really wants to do it. Like there's a lot of kids that have access to equipment and are like, oh, I wish I could make music, but I don't have a studio. But like literally anybody can do it if you have a smartphone.
Yeah. Like all your songs you make in your room.
Yeah, all in my room, all mixed by myself, most of them produced by myself. Like you can find ways to do it. And did not grow up playing instruments. I didn't play piano. I didn't play guitar. I couldn't sing. I couldn't do anything. And I just decided that I was like, I'm going to learn how to make music.
Yeah, that's a huge thing, not just in music, but in life. Like there will be a certain thing that they see someone doing something cool, and they're like, oh, I'd love to do that, but I don't know how to sing.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, well, no one just comes out of the womb. I mean, some people are naturally gifted, but
for sure,
most people aren't going to be just badass singers. Like you have to teach yourself. And what's so cool about now is there's so many resources.
Yeah.
You were talking about Devon Terrell. He has a YouTube channel, right? You were telling me where he makes tutorials on how to mix and stuff.
Yeah. And that's like, there's so many YouTube tutorials on like music stuff, but like if you want like a quality guy that like knows what he's doing, look up Devon Terrell, like his mixes, and he does tutorials on everything. But like that's where I've been learning most of my stuff over the last few months, and I've like progressed in my mixes, and I've been mixing songs for like 4 years, so like I have a little bit of experience, not a ton, but like you can find ways to learn just through YouTube.
Yeah, bro. You can learn anything through YouTube. If you can learn anything with the internet if you're willing to try.
Yeah.
And so many people aren't. And I think that's what's so cool about Kenny Beats buying this kid this stuff is saw that he was willing to put in the effort, and And I don't know. I think it's awesome. It'll be interesting to see because that kid's 11 right now.
You could argue that that's like giving a random kid like a record deal, because it's like not only are they giving him all this like equipment, and it's like the whole saying of like you give someone a fish and they have food for a day, but if you give them a fishing rod, they can, I don't know how the saying goes. Yeah. It's like that
something
thing,
like that.
Something like that. And then but also like the exposure over the story, like this kid's gonna be able to like start up his music career and like get something going for himself if he really puts in the work. And
he's gonna have a connection with Kenny Beat, Guap Dad 4000, all the guys who invested money in this. I saw it a couple days after that original thing went viral. Kenny Beats also posted a video of him FaceTiming this kid, so I'm sure he has this kid's number or this kid's parents' phone number or something. And like for the next 10 years, as this kid is growing up, like learning how to produce and make music, he'll have these contacts. And I wouldn't be shocked if 10 years from now, that kid is like a famous artist.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing I want to mention about that is Mario Luciano, who's a local Seattle producer, was involved in that. And he helped send a bunch of music equipment and help out, which I just wanted to highlight his name because he's a big guy out here.
Yeah, maybe we could get Mario on the show.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be sick. If you guys listening ever have any recommendations for artists that are maybe not necessarily fully underground, maybe they are underground, maybe they have a little bit of a following, maybe they're even popular, but if anyone has any recommendations or has access to anybody, hit us up, DM us on Instagram at NAS Podcast, because we love to just hit up as many people as we can who we think are talented and get them on the show.
For sure, yeah.
All right, so the next thing I wanted to talk about, I think this is a good segue because you actually were just talking about Russ. Or you were talking about how a lot of your stuff you like mixed and engineered yourself. Mm-hmm. And speaking of that, there's a famous thing with the artist Russ, who, if you don't know, he's a pretty famous hip-hop artist right now. But the other day, you sent me a post from this guy named Edgar Estevez.
Yeah, something. I don't know how to say his name.
Estevez. Yeah. And he's a really famous like music video director, and he has a big company. And so the other day, Matt sent me his post on Instagram. It's a screenshot of the views of two of Russ's old music videos called Losing Control and What They Want. And one of them has 291 million views and one has 276 million views. And Russ tweeted, "We shot these for a combined total of $0.
Yeah.
And then Edgar, who is the guy who directed these, and he might have filmed them too, but I'm just going to read his caption so we get some context. He said, 467 million views to this date, 2 videos, combined budget of $0. I'm so proud of Russ and myself for just showing the fuck up and simply putting in the work. He wasn't the best singer. I wasn't the best director. As Russ would have said, we just out-believed other artists and directors." And then he says at the end, "If you work hard, it's pretty simple. You will win."
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that's... And then the second photo is a screenshot from back in 2015 where they were, messaging each other. And I don't know. I think to me that was really cool because you and I both have been listening to Russ since way before he was popular.
Yeah.
And he's always been one of those guys that I've looked up to just for his mentality.
In like work ethic, yeah.
Yeah, and work ethic. And I'm sure you would look up to him for not only that, but also the fact that he always brags about, mix, master, engineering
being able to
himself.
Do everything. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I thought that was super cool. And another thing in Russ's tweet, it said something like fans are more important than money.
Yeah.
Like I might not make any money from these like 290 million views, but those 290 million views are gaining me fans that are going to set up the rest of my career.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think like the fact that he said off a $0 budget, like that's more of a testament to like Russ was, I'm sure he had to make a connection with the guy. He had to be willing to put himself out there and be looking for people to work with and build a relationship with him so that, because it's not easy to find someone that's willing to do a video for $0.
Yeah.
And like, that means he had to believe in Russ and Russ had to believe in him. And like they were able to like make 2 videos that are, I don't know, just crazy.
And they both benefited from it because now this Edgar guy, like he also blew up from that and now has his own huge production company. So, and another thing, you and I both have read Russ's book, and say what you want about Russ. I know he gets a lot of shit on social media. Like so many people meme him and just hate on him, and he has said some, I guess, borderline dumb things in the past. But
who
like,
hasn't?
yeah, who hasn't? And ultimately, his whole mentality, from what I can gather, is just like being like almost blindly confident in yourself. No matter what anyone says, like you're gonna be so incredibly confident that people think you're cocky. And
a lot of people disagree with that, but a lot of people aren't as successful as Russ. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but like the people that are like really successful and like at the top of the game usually believe in themselves that much.
Yeah. And, people call it cockiness, but if he is that good, he can back it up.
It's the truth.
And, but what I wanted to say is in his book, he was talking about how there was a time when they were filming these music videos and he hired an editor because he wanted to get them like professionally edited. And this editor was taking too long and kept saying like, oh, it's going to take me a while. I don't have the time right now.
Yeah, he's like, I'll get it to you in like a month.
Yeah.
And he's like, he just assumed that that's how long it takes for a video to like get edited.
Yeah, and he wasn't cool with that. He didn't want to wait a month. So he literally just took the footage, imported it to his computer, looked up tutorials on how to edit, and then just taught himself how to edit. And he edited those music videos. And now they have literally 200 million views. So like, that's exactly what we were saying. Like, you can learn anything. And if you want something bad enough, you're going to learn how to do it.
Yeah, and another thing in the book that I thought was hilarious, but it's like the same thing. Him and Bugis, who was like his friend that he came up rapping with, they would send their songs to Mix by Ali, who's now like probably the most famous engineer in like hip hop. Like he mixes for Kendrick and like everyone. But and back when they were both kind of like nobodies.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I don't really like the way his mixes are sounding. I'm going to learn how to do it myself. And like, that's funny because now they're both like huge names, but like, that's just how much he believed in himself. Like he was willing to work on that.
That's funny, dude. Imagine getting, I mean, at the time he wasn't the biggest engineer, but like, imagine that the biggest engineer in hip hop is working on your song and you're like, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's like, it's not that it was a bad mix because it's all about how you want it to sound.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think anyone would argue that Russ is a better engineer. Russ, but like, it's just
Russ
funny.
might.
Oh, yeah, Russ might would.
But yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to talk about that. I think it's a really, inspirational thing for upcoming artists.
So I wanted to talk about Jack Harlow's What's Poppin' remix. I mean, I've only heard it a few times. Like at the time of this recording, it's only been out for like a day or two.
Yeah.
But it's featuring DaBaby, Tory Lanez, and Lil Wayne. I just think that's like such a cool like team of rappers right there. But
yeah, man. And those are the guys who are like, I saw a comment and it was like Jack Harlow is a freshman, DaBaby's the sophomore, Tory Lanez is the junior, and Lil Wayne is the senior. It's like
Lil Wayne's like the teacher though.
Yeah, like Lil Wayne has been around forever, and it's just cool that they got all these different phases of hip hop kind of like cuz like last year it was all DaBaby all year, and this year it's kind of been Jack Harlow for a lot of the year.
Especially of like the upcoming, because there's a lot of new rappers this year, but of the guys that like really rap, like I'd say he's the best incoming like freshman, you would say.
Did you see on Twitter? So obviously, if you guys haven't heard his song What's Poppin', it like,
I don't know how you haven't.
It's been everywhere, like on top of all the different hip hop playlists and charts and stuff. But I saw that a clip from that music video resurfaced on Twitter and went viral because someone said like, wait, hold up, this guy's white?
Yeah.
And so many people had no idea that he's white up until now.
Well, first off, Jack Harlow's like on all of his album covers. So like you look at them and you would probably assume that's him.
And he's a very distinct
like he's a
face.
white guy with curls, like used to wear glasses. Like you kind of recognize him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't sound white, but like I don't know how to, you know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know though. I think maybe if I had never seen his face, he might sound more black than you would think.
I was just gonna say on the remix, I thought it was really cool that like Tory Lanez is back like rapping. I don't know. I just love hearing him like actually try to go in on a song.
Yeah, as opposed to kind of
I like his like other music, but just like I like hearing him rap. Especially I like artists that can do multiple things, not really have like one specific lane.
Yeah.
One
specific lane. Yeah, he reminds me of Drake in the sense that, he could release a whole album singing.
Yeah.
Like more just
like one just rapping.
Yeah,
they're both from Toronto, I think.
Oh yeah,
or I think he's from just outside of Toronto. I don't know.
Yeah, but did you like his most recent album?
I did. I really liked that one. And like on that album, there's like 3 or 4 songs of like just rapping.
Yeah,
and then there's like also like the hit songs on there. So like I thought it was a good balance.
Yeah, it's interesting to me how the quote unquote hit songs are never like the rap ones where they just go in.
And even with like big guys like J. Cole, like you could argue that like No Role Models is like his biggest song ever, and like that's mainly known for like the chorus. Same with like Middle Child is like J. Cole, not for J. Cole's standard, he's not really rapping like that much, but
yeah, I know it. Do you think that's because just the way the industry is set up that like, you know, radio stations won't play the hard rap and like it's just not as appealing to the general public?
I don't know, because like even with Kendrick, like Humble is like probably his biggest song of all time, and that's like his big fans would say isn't really a Kendrick song, but like I don't know if it's radio, if it's I don't know how to describe it, but like the difference of if that's what the fans want or if that's what the people that put it out there think the fans want. You know what I mean? Because I don't know which dictates the other nowadays.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting. One of my favorite artists and favorite songs is this guy named Cal Scrubby, and he has a song called Shut Up, and the whole intro of the song is him like talking with his friend about how like the labels basically came to him when he finished his project, and they were like, okay, so where's the club banger? Where's the radio single? Like they have specific needs that they need met.
Yeah, for like each album. And that's like the whole thing with J. Cole's first album. Like he got signed to Jay-Z's label and they were like, all right, like the album's dope, but you need like a hit song. He thought the song Who Dat was going to be like his big breakout single. But it wasn't until he made Work Out until they like, I remember hearing that song on the radio when I was like 10 at the time.
Yeah, dude.
And or 11 or whatever. But and like that was like his big entry into like the mainstream, which is funny because then on like his next album he made like the song Let Nas Down, which was like apologizing for making that song, but it's just funny.
That's what
it's about.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, so basically
it all makes sense now.
Yeah, he made Work Out to like so that he could put out his first album, and there's a lot of really good like deep songs on his first album, but like when Nas heard it, he told No ID, who's like works with both of like J. Cole and Nas, and like basically told him that Nas said he hated the song. Like he doesn't know, like you're supposed to be like the chosen one, like the new incoming like real rapper, and like why would you make a song like that? And so that song was just apologizing to him.
Oh, dude, that had to have. I mean, based on the song, it did crush him hearing that.
I mean,
his
Nas
idol,
is like one of his favorite rappers of all time.
Yeah. Bro, that's so funny because I was making a new playlist the other day for like different like workout songs, and I added in Let Nas Down, and I understood the lyrics that he let him down, but I never made the connection.
I don't think he name drops the song Work Out. He just says like made the biggest hit of my career.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so do you think that J. Cole like actively dislikes that song? Like, do you think it was almost like they forced him to make it otherwise?
I don't think so.
Or do you think he was like,
I think he probably liked it. I think,
because that would suck as an artist if you have a project and it's perfect, it is totally done, but the label just makes you make like some radio song.
Well, you know what he did was, I don't think it was that. I think he because I think he produced that song too. Okay. But like I think he made it with in mind, like this is gonna be on radio.
Yeah.
Like so it was a little bit of both, but like he had the album ready and then they wouldn't let him put it out. So in that time of not having a hit, he made Friday Night Lights, which is like now one of like a lot of his diehard fans think that's like one of his best albums. And so he put that out for free. So that's really like his second album, but he put out the other one after it.
Yeah. Dang, dude. I didn't realize that. That's so I love these little hidden gems that like it all adds up now.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Oh, what were we
How did we get here?
Tory Lanez and then the remix of
All right. I don't know where we were going. I don't know how we got to J. Cole in the first place, but all right. So moving on, something else I wanted to talk about. Like I said, I'm a videographer amongst other things, and so I have a passion for music videos. And something pretty crazy. At least to me, it seemed crazy. So Lil Baby, pretty popular rapper, dropped a music video called The Bigger Picture, which is all about, the protests going on right now, the Black Lives Matter movement, and just all the unrest right now in the country. Really good song. And then same day, 6ix9ine dropped a song called Trolls featuring Nicki Minaj. And within one day, Lil Baby's music video has 2.4 million views,
which is solid.
Pretty respectable amount of views. Like, not many people in the world can pull that. And then 6ix9ine's music video Trolls in the same day got 63 million views, which is, it absolutely blew my mind. But I guess at the end of the day, it made me realize that the people consuming this music, especially on YouTube in particular, where the music videos are posted, is not really who I expected, I guess.
Yeah, and that's insane to me, just the difference. But like, that just shows, like, because 6ix9ine's like the king of like going viral in this day and age. He's known for going viral more than he's known for his actual music.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, haven't even heard that song.
Yeah.
I've like seen it, and like when I go on social media, like the week or whatever it came out, like I saw it all over my timeline. But like, it's just annoying that like someone like Lil Baby can make like a real song about something that like really matters, and like that's not ever gonna be like the top thing.
Yeah, I mean, the 13-year-olds run what's popular. Like, that's with TikTok. It started with the
like,
middle schoolers.
Do you want to tell me that like the average 25 to like 30-year-old that listens to hip hop is like a 6ix9ine fan?
No.
No.
I don't know if there's any 25. You think there's a 25-year-old out there that truly loves 6ix9ine?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say hip hop. I was gonna be like, yeah.
No. Do you think there's like a 25-year-old 6ix9ine fan that like would go to his concert?
Dude,
like, I can't
know.
I can't picture that.
I mean,
maybe a weirdo.
There's probably some people that respect him, but I don't think there's people that like are genuinely like his fans that age.
Yeah. I don't know. And I think that, 6ix9ine gets shit on a lot. And I don't personally enjoy his music at all, but regardless of what you think about his music, you have to respect the fact that he has figured out the system.
He knows how to like work the game.
Yeah, he's a genius when it comes to just marketing himself. And like, I don't follow anything associated with 6ix9ine on social media, yet I see him like every day.
For sure.
And I'm like, I don't even want to see this guy.
Yeah, it's like he's all over every single, because I follow a lot of just random like rap accounts, and like they always post what's like viral, but it's like sometimes I'll see some stuff and I'm like, I feel like this isn't even that viral, but I keep seeing it like all over my timelines, and I'm like, I feel like artists have started to realize accounts like that are like just as powerful as like a XXL or like a big like media company.
Yeah.
That like if you can get on one of those pages, it's just as powerful.
Yeah, man. If you can get on like World Star's Instagram for doing something stupid, even something that is supposed to be a negative, it's like it's gonna help promote your music.
That's like
regardless.
Bad Baby. Like I don't remember what was her Catch Me Outside. Like that's like how she got viral, but like I associate her with her music now, and I've never even heard a song.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I don't know. I think that this younger generation, these middle schoolers, they're so active on social media that they're the reason that artists like Trevor Daniel, for example, is this singer who was about to quit music because he wasn't making any money, and then all of a sudden his song that he had released like I think a few months before it even blew up, like it was already kind of an older song.
Okay.
It blew up on TikTok and changed his whole life. And it's
insane.
all because this younger generation is just all over like just the new music.
Yeah, and it's like you can take a look at stuff, and it's not necessarily just like no-name guys or guys that are blowing up, but like think about like what Fortnight did. Like Fortnite's target audience, like a lot of people play it like that are our age and older, but like their target audience is like 9 to like 14-year-olds, I would say. And like they had that Travis Scott concert, and like I don't know how many people were on it, but it was like a big insane event. And it's like it's funny that like you can have these huge concerts in a video game, and it's like that's how much power is in like that age range of like 9 to 14.
Yeah. And another thing, a lot of people that I know personally are so unwilling to like accept a new trend or to adapt to a trend or to realize that this is happening and I should probably hop on if I want to try and find any sort of success out of this. And like Fortnite is a good example. There's so many people that are older that are like, oh, Fortnite's fucking stupid, or like that event was so stupid. Who would want to go to a Travis Scott concert, like virtual concert? And it's like, and then a lot of the people say the same thing about TikTok. It's like, oh, it's so stupid. Like, why would anyone care to use that? It's just a waste of time, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, you might think it's dumb, but people's lives are changing and they're making millions of dollars because of what TikTok is doing.
Yeah.
And so if you're not willing to like get on a new trend, you're going to lose out on a lot of potential opportunities.
For sure. Yeah. And that's what music, like the whole music industry like is like, it's sadly about like finding trends and like, or bringing something new to the table and setting the trend.
Yeah.
And that's just what it always is. And it's, people don't realize that it can be through different platforms like a social media or whatever it is, because like the equivalent of like getting a big TikToker to use your song and get that to go viral is like the equivalent of getting signed in like 2008.
Yeah. Like it could literally do just as much for you.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
And I think some people get they get it twisted. They think that if I'm going to use TikTok, I have to enjoy it and I have to like the platform. It's not about, not at all. Yeah. It's not about even getting behind it. Like I post on TikTok, but I don't
consume TikTok.
Yeah, I don't consume TikTok, but I'm going to engage in it because I know that it can help grow a brand. So it's like, why not take advantage of that?
Exactly.
All right, well, moving on here. The last thing I wanted to talk about before we hop into the segments for today is what are your thoughts just in general on deluxe versions of albums versus just the original version of the album? Because I know it's been a thing for a while, but I guess I haven't really noticed it up until recently, because I guess the artists I listen to have been doing it more and more, it seems like, where they'll drop an album and it'll, you know, get pretty good exposure. People are talking about it for a week or two, but everyone has such short attention spans on the internet that it's like video games. I feel like within a couple weeks, you know, Call of Duty is going to drop a new update or Fortnite is going to add a new gun or whatever. I feel like that's kind of why they're doing it for deluxe albums, where they just drop 10 extra songs just to try and get the revenue up. Is that what's happening, or why do you think what are these for?
I think it's like that. I mean, it's always been like a thing. People have done deluxes, but like recently it's been interesting to watch because guys like Uzi will drop an album and then he'll drop what's called the deluxe, but it's really just a whole nother album
with the other album attached to it.
Yeah, it's just the same. It's like has the name on it and that's it. But I think like traditionally how it's done is like it's no more than like 5 songs. If it's more than that, then it's like a pretty big deluxe. But who else did it? I know Russ dropped a deluxe.
Young Thug has done it. Nav's done it.
That's all recent too, isn't it?
Yeah. God, I forget. There's been 2 or 3 more that I've listened to, but
or you could be like Kendrick, and instead of dropping a deluxe, you drop the collector's edition, which is the same album, but the track list is reversed. But that was kind of cool though, because there was all these theories on like Kendrick dropping a second album, and like in the lyrics, if you like, you can find stuff that is him basically saying there is another album, but if you listen to the album backwards, it has a whole different meaning.
Wait, there's conspiracy theory groups about decoding Kendrick's lyrics?
Yeah, so actually if you look behind you, we have there's the Damn album that's in black and white. That's the collector's, and if you put that in, it's the same thing as the regular Damn album, just in reverse. And people are dumb like me and go buy it.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah.
But do you think that the songs that are put on a deluxe album are songs that didn't make the cut of the original album, or do you think it's like just other songs they like that maybe for marketing reasons it could have been in a new album, but they just decide to throw it in this deluxe album?
So a lot of the times it's actually like a single that was released before the album that was just had no relation to any album. So like I know on Russ's album, he dropped a bunch of singles last year in 2019 that had nothing to do with his current album that just came out a few months ago. But and those made it on, but then the first song was featuring Ty Dolla $ign, and that was like the single he was pushing, and they basically threw the other songs behind it. Oh yeah, Lil Wayne also dropped a deluxe, but it's usually like 1 or 2 new songs and then a few old ones. That's what I've noticed. Could be different, but so like when it's that case, I feel like it's just a bigger way to push a single.
Yeah.
And like attach some other songs to it.
What do you think of the trend nowadays to where albums are like, I think Wiz Khalifa is a good example. His albums have been like 31 songs long or like 35. I've seen like a 35 song album versus, you know, like 8 years ago, the albums would be like 12 songs or 10 songs.
Yeah. I feel like albums back then were more traditionally like 10 to 15. I don't know. Like it was just, there wasn't a bigger gap in like, but like also you could argue the albums, a lot of them are getting shorter. Like it's more natural to see a 7-song album after like what Kanye did in 2018. And like Jack Harlow's album was like 7 songs.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of short albums, and a lot of albums now are like, they'll be like 12 songs, but if you look at how long they are, they'll be like 30 minutes because every song will be like 1.5 to like 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's another thing is songs are getting substantially shorter. Like we have back behind me and Matt, we have these like random kids like records, like literal records.
Yeah.
And on the back of them, you can look at like the track list and see the name and how long the songs are. And on one of them, the songs are like 6 minutes, 5.5 minutes, 6 minutes, 4 minutes. And it's like, these are really long projects. Whereas now, I remember a couple of years ago, I heard something about, I don't know, I think it was kind of in like one of those sketches that some albums have where it's just someone talking or like an intermission. And they were talking about how, you know, there's no reason to make a song that's 4 minutes because when you could just make more songs that are 2 minutes and keep people's attention.
Especially with, to bring it back, TikTok, like the sounds on TikTok are either 30 seconds or like a minute. And so there's people literally making 1-minute songs because they know that why would I waste any time on making like part of the song that won't even get on TikTok?
Yeah.
And so like people are literally making like 1-minute songs. But it's funny because this makes me think of like a random conversation I had with like a friend of mine that listens to more like type of music you'd see on like No Jumper. But he's like, oh yeah, like No Role Models by J. Cole, that's a classic song. He's like, it's just in my opinion, like he should have cut it off after like the first or second verse. I'm like
what?
I'm like, do people really think that about like some of these big artists? Like they're critiquing like you should have cut off songs. Or they'll be like, this album would have been a classic if they cut off this, and this song. I'm like, but those songs are on the album. So like, why isn't it respected for those songs being good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, every album has to inevitably have a few weaker links than the rest, right? And I don't know, that's gotta suck as an artist. When they release an album, do you think they must get like stats on how many streams each song has?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like you can see like how, I think it's like public information. You can see like
you can go look
like
up
Spotify stats. I know you can, but
but like, what if as an artist, like let's say you drop an album and your favorite song in the album is like the ones that the fans just always skip?
Yeah,
like,
that happens a lot with like artists. Like you hear them say in interviews, or like they're like, yeah, this was the song we were thinking of cutting from the album, and that was like the hit.
Yeah, dude. So another thing I wanted to ask you, you were talking about how people are making like shorter songs to fit TikTok and just the trends. Do you feel like that takes away from the art of making music, like the passion that people originally had when they got into music? For you, for example, do you ever feel like you're making music for a trend to try and get exposure and it like loses the heart that you have for it?
Yeah. So here's what I think. I think if you're making a short song with the intention of like, this is for TikTok to blow up, then that's like, unless you have a passion for doing that, like you would be like, I would lose my passion in like the creative process. I don't have anything against like making shorter songs because I do think there's times guys will make songs and they'll like add a third verse, add like a bridge just to like make it a full song. Like a lot of artists I work with say stuff like that. They're like, oh, it's good, but the song's only 1:50 and we got to get it at least 2 minutes or else it's like not even a real song. But it's like, if it's good, like you should put it out.
Yeah,
and if you're really confident in the song, you should put it out. But like, so I don't think if you're adding stuff unnecessarily, like I think that's wrong. But I also think that if you're specifically making something, like I've tried to make stuff before where I'm like, I'm just going to do 30 seconds of me rapping, make a little video, try to see if I can get that blown up on TikTok. and it's just not the same. It's not fun. I don't enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
But like I'd way rather spend 5 hours and like try to make a song, because that's why I'm actually doing this.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. I mean, that's kind of what I already thought. I just wanted to.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see an artist drop like a 16-minute song where it's like it doesn't. I don't know how you would do it because I've never listened to a 16-minute song, but like I've always had this theory. Why couldn't? Because I've said that to some people, and they're like, all right, well, obviously the beat would have to change into something else at some point, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And then they're like, well, then that's just basically a different song.
Songs,
You're just putting them together. But do you think there could be a way where you could make a 16-minute song where it doesn't feel like it's different songs?
So I was going to say, I know a few like of like the really underground artists I listen to have put out like little EPs that are like 15 minutes long, and it's one track. Personally, I don't prefer to like listen to that.
Oh, so it is different songs. They just put it into one track.
Yeah, mixed together. Or it'll be like, but they'll usually find a more creative way to go from song to song versus like when there's literal tracks. But like it's really like experimental and fun to listen to. But I've never heard it where it's like actually just the same song. Because it's like, if you think about like Bohemian Rhapsody is like famous for being like a 7.5 minute song.
Yeah.
But like, that's only 7. Like, imagine like a 20-minute song of just like it's just
what's
rap.
The issue with it? Do you think that it would get too repetitive? People would get sick of the beat?
It would get too repetitive. But at the same time, there's like songs like, it's not like a beat is just the same loop. Like there are some songs that are the same loop over and over again, but like it doesn't necessarily have to be a beat change. It can be changes, but like I think after about like the 8th minute,
you're like, all right,
okay,
let's just end it.
I don't know about this one.
Yeah. I think Rap God was probably as long as you need to make it, because
that
was
what, like 6 minutes.
Like,
yeah.
All right. Well, maybe that'll never happen. But do you want to hop into the last segments here?
Yeah, sure. So for this week, I wanted to do an artist study, which essentially is just going to be diving into an artist I picked for this week and then telling you their whole like come up story.
Yeah, and then we're also going to have another segment after this as well.
Yeah.
So I think we're still trying to figure it out. You know, this is our first episode, so we're still learning and seeing what we like, what people like. But we have a list of like 7 to 8 different segments. So I think the way it'll work is some days we'll have a certain 2, and then maybe the next week we'll have another 2. And then when we have a guest on, one of the segments might be a freestyle, or it might be them singing, or, you know, we've have ideas of like a Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we have a lot of different ideas. So let us know what you guys think of this episode so far. And yeah, anyways, sorry to cut you off there.
No, you're good. But this week, I decided to focus on the artist Arizona Zervas. And I'm sure you guys all know the breakout song Roxanne, super popular on TikTok. And basically, Arizona Zervas is an artist out of Maryland, but he now lives in LA. He's like 23 or 24, and he started releasing music in high school. And he's kind of a mystery when you like do research on him and like try to find some of his old music. And he originally, back in like 2016, went viral off of doing a Super Bowl freestyle. This is like super random. I had no clue this happened.
What the heck?
He just posted like a video of him rapping, and he like name dropped every football team in the NFL. And like that like blew up.
Have you seen the video?
Yeah,
no?
I found the video.
Is it cool? Was it good?
Yeah, and it's like, it's funny because if you hear Roxanne, you think he's more of like a pop rapper that doesn't really like rap too much.
Yeah,
like he's more of like a singer, if anything. But he's actually like, I guess like really rapping. But
well, I feel like that's what's interesting. A lot of artists nowadays that are getting popular, a ton of them are kind of in this limbo between hip hop and pop, I guess, where they can do both. And maybe you could say their songs are rap, but you could easily also play it for your family and they wouldn't realize that this is a rapper. You know what I'm saying?
And here's the thing that like I've noticed with guys, like pretty much most of these guys that aren't even considered like the rappers, like came up really rapping. Like Uzi, you can find videos of him like really rapping. You can find like Tory Lanez was a battle rapper. Like you do not think of Tory Lanez as like a battle rapper unless you know him from his beef with like Jordan Lucas. But like Arizona Zervas was definitely more of like a Logic style artist, and he's also from Maryland, which is interesting. But
he's one of those guys who I've known about him since around 2016, and I would assume that the reason. So there's a lot of these YouTube channels that post like underground artists who have uncopyrighted music, and back then I found him through Swaggy Tracks, like I had heard some of his older stuff. So, I don't know where I was going with that. I cut you off.
No, but that's actually brings me into my next point. I was gonna say something I had no clue about was he's kind of been like familiar with like the viral side of the internet, like his whole like career, I guess. Like he you can find old like Nelq Boy videos of like, and he's just hanging out with them.
Oh, he's buddies with the Nelq Boys.
So he's like friends with them, and I noticed that they like more recently have like used his songs. I don't watch a ton of their videos, but I just saw that. And
well, he has. If you guys don't know who the Nelq Boys are, they're these kind of like vlog frat YouTubers. They do like these crazy
like public
stunts.
pranks, and they're really funny, but like it's funny because if you listen to Arizona Zervas' music, it kind of sounds like it would fit their vibe.
Yeah.
But after that video of him went viral, like freestyling at the for the Super Bowl, he went on tour with a guy named Skate. I had never heard of him, but when I looked him up, apparently he was like one of those really big Viners back in the day.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of interesting because he's now known as like the TikTok artist.
Yeah.
And he like got his come up from like a Viner.
Yeah.
And then he started releasing singles after that. He put out I found like one of his old mixtapes on like Napster and heard like the preview of each song. And it was just funny because it was like so different than his current music.
Yeah.
But it was all essentially just like party rap music. But and then like in 2016, he started releasing singles, starting with the song Don't Hit My Line. In 2018, he released an EP with 3 songs, and one of them was FML, which also took off after Roxanne blew up. But another really random fact I just found about him is like, I don't know if he still is like dating her, but for a while he was dating Logan Paul's like assistant. So like it's just so random how this all connects.
Maybe that's why he blew up on TikTok, because Logan Paul has all the connections with the social media people.
Who knows?
So maybe why does Logan Paul need an assistant?
I don't know.
What do you need an assistant for?
I don't know. He does a lot. I think it might have been No, Jake Paul was the one that was on Disney. So
dude,
I don't know
which one is which. I'm going to be honest. I get them mixed up.
I think Logan Paul's hated more, but I don't know.
If I ever get to a point where I need an assistant, I feel like I should like reevaluate what I'm like. I would feel bad having it. Like, I get if you need a manager.
Okay.
And I get an agent and that type of thing. But like just a personal assistant who like, they're not your editor. They're not your whatever. They just.
I don't know what like
I don't know what she does, but like
I just found it's funny because it was doing research on Arizona Zervas, like literally takes you down on these like TikTok-y websites that are like famous birthdays is one where they like have all these celebrities. I was on like I found that it said that he was dating some girl named like Lydia, clicked on her profile, and then it was like Logan Paul's assistant. So it's interesting.
What's super interesting about this in particular is what you've just told us really shows that almost everybody who blows up in any industry, a lot of people like to discredit them and think that, oh, this is the guy who got lucky and blew up.
Yeah.
And almost always you can track back to these people's history and realize they didn't just blow up out of nowhere. They've been at it for years. He had
a viral video in 2016. Like, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, and he was making music even before that. So, like, the fact that he blew up in 2020 isn't just luck. He's been in the industry trying to grind for, like, 5 or maybe even 6 or 7 years.
I see all these videos all the time about certain artists that blow up saying, like, are they an industry plant? And, like, basically what an industry plant is an artist that a label, they'll just take anybody and they'll put all this money behind them and they're not talented at all. And the only reason they're famous is because like the industry or like the label is putting enough money behind it. And like, I just think that's funny because if you do like any sort of research, like I didn't go that in depth on this guy. And like, I found all this stuff of him like going on tour in 2016. Like a lot of artists don't make it to the point where they can actually go on a tour. But
wait, so what's your point? That these labels could just take some of
no,
these
my
other
point is
artists?
that like a lot of people just assume that like these guys didn't actually put the work in, that they're an industry plant, when like if you do any sort of research you find like they thought Russ was an industry plant in like 2017, but it's like, well, then why was he releasing a song a week for like 3 years? And like there's just all this work that doesn't really add up if you really think about it.
Do we have any proof of who who is an industry plant?
I think I don't know.
Does anyone know, or is it all just like
I
like
honestly don't even think there are that many. I think you could say Bad Baby's an industry plant, but that's like
People
public
like that.
knowledge. So like that she blew up off of a meme.
Yeah.
So-
and then, that makes sense. These these labels just realize that there's an opportunity here.
Yeah,
and-
but usually an industry plant's like a secret.
Oh.
It's usually like it's supposedly like the big artist everyone
Whoa,
knows.
maybe
but
J.
I don't-
Cole's an industry
J. Cole's
plant.
an industry plant.
I don't know.
That's the title of this video. But
Yeah.
anyways, something that I found was super interesting was so like he through the span of like 2016 to 2019, he's been releasing all these songs like probably like 6-7 singles or like 8 singles a year. I don't know how many, but I think like he has a catalog of like 40 songs on like Spotify now. But he grew a pretty big following. But like before he released Roxanne, his monthly listener count was 500,000, which don't get me wrong, that's really impressive for an independent artist.
Yeah.
And for reference, Justin Stone, he
Yeah.
has a current like monthly listener count of 804,000, which is really good and impressive.
Yeah.
And then he dropped Roxanne, and Roxanne hit number 4 on Billboard's charts and number 1 on Spotify's like top 50 US, all independent. That hasn't,
my gosh.
nothing like that has been done since like 2017. Like even the Lil Nas story like doesn't fully add up to like how crazy this is in
Really?
the sense of.
So you think the scale of how wild this is even crazier than Lil Nas blowing up?
I don't know if it's different. I don't
yeah.
think it's necessarily like the same category. But what's interesting about that is like after he blew up, there was like a big, whenever an artist like that just like goes viral, there's usually a big like a bidding war for like all the record labels trying to sign him.
Yeah.
And so he ended up signing with Columbia, which is the same label Lil Nas is. But I think the thing that kind of sets Arizona apart from Lil Nas is Lil Nas, like when he dropped that song, I'm sure he's dropped music. I'm sure he's been making music
Yeah.
for years, but like he didn't have any other songs out. Like I think he deleted them.
Yeah.
And like if you go on Arizona Zervas' like Spotify, he's got 30 songs. When you go back throughout the years, you can see the quality kind of drop a little bit, but he still has like all these songs that you can actually become a fan of. You can't really become a fan of someone that has one song.
Yeah, that is what's interesting, because when Lil Nas blew up, I went to his Spotify and there's that song, what was that called?
Old Town Road.
Old Town Road, and he had just like 4 remixes of the same song.
Yeah.
But like that's it. Whereas if someone who found Arizona Zervas maybe like right as they blew up, it gives them a reason to like want to be a loyal fan, because it's like, oh my god, I just found this guy, and look at like he's not that popular yet, but he has so much good music that I can get behind.
Yeah, and exactly. And it's funny about Lil Nas. I'm pretty sure if you don't count remixes, he dropped like almost as many songs as like Grammys he won,
Yeah.
which is absolutely insane. Or like Grammys he was nominated for.
Yeah, man, that's wild.
But anyways, and
One thing I want to say about Arizona Zervas
yeah,
is to me it's really interesting, not from a music perspective, but just his branding. If you go and look up his Spotify page, for like, he did what Russ kind of did for a while, where the visual of when you go to his Spotify page, a lot of his songs have like a white background and then like a black little picture in the middle.
yeah,
And I don't know, to me, I just think that's really smart and interesting, because
there's like a theme behind
there's
it.
a theme behind it. And a lot of influencers on Instagram know that it's really important how your feed looks visually to catch people's attention. Like if you go to someone's page and they have 1 million followers, I guarantee it's going to be visually appealing to look at, and people underestimate how important that is. And I see like, some upcoming artists, they don't spend time on their like album artwork or the artwork at all, really, and they'll just put some random photo. But if you actually make it, like Russ did it so smart, because he just had the same thing over and over, like a plain color and a picture. And if people get used to that, and then one day all of a sudden you drop an album that's totally different than that, it's like the shock factor, I feel like, that'll get people to click on it.
Yeah, and that's like, it's all about like building like your image, and like people, not that they know what to expect, but it's like they have like something, they see like the cycle of it.
Yeah.
But anyways, after he dropped that after he dropped Roxanne and that took off and like topped all the charts, the thing with artists that when they blow up, everyone always wonders like, what are they going to do next? Because a lot of artists fall off. Like a lot of artists get a hit, maybe get another one, and then they start to fall off. Like if you think about someone like Fetty Wap, like he was everything in like, I don't know, 2015, and I haven't heard
he's everything to me, Matt.
He's my favorite artist.
He doesn't have an eye. That's how cool he is. Yeah, no, you're right though. I mean, all I know about Fetty Wap is he had one song and then that he doesn't have an eye.
Or like a better example of that, because like he had a few big songs, but like Designer, like I don't know any other songs other than Panda.
Yeah, or like what's his name, Bobby Shmurda.
Oh yeah,
was he kind of like that, or did he just go to prison?
He might have just.
I think he just went.
But
to
he's
prison,
like better known for that now. But anyways, so after Roxanne kind of took off. That took off in November. He didn't drop any music for a while, and I was really curious to see what he would do next. And he was kind of just riding off of the success of that and FML, which were both like topping charts at the time. It was interesting, and randomly enough, like Sway Lee brought him out to perform, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. He's actually starting to like work with some bigger artists, and like they both dropped a remix to Roxanne, and so like that was the first thing he dropped after, and that was in February, and that did really well. And then a month ago he finally dropped his first like actual new song called 24, and it's obviously not doing as well as like Roxanne or FML, but it was still like I saw it on the top of like a bunch of random playlists, and I think he's set himself up pretty well to build a fan base from here on out.
I mean, that's a huge thing, is just building off the momentum. So many people will get an opportunity where they get this exposure for like just an instant, and if you don't capitalize and put out a new song, or like if it's YouTube and you don't put out a new video or whatever in that first week or whatever, I mean, I guess it really depends on the artist, but if you don't take advantage of that at all, those people stop caring about you real quick.
Yeah, and it's funny because like that makes me think of when like Futuristic went viral with Nerd Raps in Compton.
Yeah,
like I saw a video of him talking about like what he was thinking at the time, and they were like, oh, like this is working, let's put something else out. And they did another Nerd Raps video, and that blew up. So like, oh, let's make another video, and they did like a bunch of music videos for his album that came out. And then he started working on the album with Devon Terrell, and then they did remixes of all these songs, and they kind of did the reverse of that, where they just kept putting out more and more content because it kept working.
Yeah,
and like that's how he grew his fan base. But anyways,
Futuristic he's the prime example of just consistent quality content. He blew up, like you said.
He has so much music.
And all his music is great.
Yeah,
it's just consistent quality music, and he like, I don't know, he's one of those guys that's like just been, I feel like, obviously, like I said, I don't make music, but for someone like you who's an independent artist or any independent artist, Futuristic is like such a good model of a career to like try and follow. Like, such a loyal fan base. Obviously not like superstar rich, but I'm sure he's doing just fine. Like he's doing well for himself. And what's so cool is it seems like he makes exactly the type of music he wants to make.
For sure. He dropped like last year 2 albums of him like singing, and then this year he dropped an album of like just him rapping. Like he's not like setting a limit on himself for what he's gonna create.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyways, yeah, like the last thing I wanted to say about Arizona Zervas is like I said before he dropped Roxanne, he had 500,000 monthly listeners. Today I checked, and he has 20,777,000.
Oh my god,
that's a pretty big step up.
I didn't know he had 20 million.
And that's like, he's the type of guy that like the average person would be like, oh yeah, he blew up with Roxanne, but he's not really relevant anymore. But like, I guarantee you, once he drops some more music, he'll be relevant again.
Bro,
I'm not saying he's gonna be an artist that's around for the next however much, but like,
yeah, wait, I'm gonna look up. Just give me a guess on what do you think Post Malone's monthly listeners are.
Those guys are in like the 100 millions, I'm pretty sure.
No, I don't think so.
I don't use Spotify first off, so like it's not as familiar with me.
No, I know. But I think this is gonna shock people how like a lot of people will Post Malone has 49 million.
That's it?
But if you think
that's
about
a lot, but like
Post Malone is like debatably
He's in the top 5 of the most listened to artists. I'm pretty sure
on the
today.
whole planet.
Yeah, every genre.
And then this guy Arizona has 20 million.
That's insane.
That shows how huge he actually is.
That it like actually compares, you know?
Yeah,
and it's
that's more than J. Cole, I think.
Is it what?
Yeah, I actually think. I mean, obviously, listen, it changes.
Okay, I'm gonna pull this up just in case I wrote something
J.
wrong.
Cole, 21 million.
What?
I can look it up right here.
Arizona Zervas.
Arizona.
What if it was just like 100,000?
20.7 million. Dude, as many people listen to Arizona Zervas as J. Cole.
That's insane. That blows my mind more than the research I was doing. Oh my gosh.
I mean, you have to keep in mind that these monthly listeners, it really depends on if someone has just dropped something.
Yeah.
Of course, there's going to be way more listens. Like J. Cole, I remember he was at one point was at like 17 million, and then he dropped Middle Child and was at like 40 million.
Yeah.
So it just
goes
depends.
up and down, but that is, I'd still say, a pretty solid stat to see how like relevant a name is. And it's not like J. Cole hasn't dropped a song.
Yeah, he just dropped
one.
a song. Yeah, man. So
that's insane. But the biggest thing that like from doing this research I noticed about him is he's not a stranger to like going viral. He's around people that know how the internet works. He had a video go viral, and he built a fan base on his own. And like, so when the average person, if they dropped a Roxanne, like right now, if I dropped a Roxanne, like I would be scrambling, like trying to figure out how to keep things going. But like, it seemed like he knew what to do. It seemed like he was able to handle it well.
Yeah, bro, what would you actually do
if like I had a Roxanne?
Like
out of nowhere.
Yeah, like let's just say let's say when it's gonna be Christmas time in a few months, in like 6 months from now. And last year you dropped your Christmas mixtape.
Yeah.
And just out of nowhere, some random kid makes a TikTok with a clip from one of your songs. Mm-hmm. What was your favorite song on that mixtape?
No Hard Feelings, sure.
Okay.
That one.
Okay. Is that featuring anyone?
That's with Nary and Casman.
Okay. So let's say that someone uses that song and it goes viral, and you wake up and you just see on TikTok that like there's been 10 million people, there's 10 million notifications of people tagging you. What do you do? Like, how do you like
first
compose yourself?
I would be just confused. I'd probably go and check on like every website where there's music and be like, is it actually? Because I feel like I would assume it's like a glitch or something.
Or like a
first.
bot.
Yeah. And then I'd be like, I would check social media and be like, how did this happen? I don't know what I would do, honestly. I'd probably freak out. And it's funny because like I'm an independent artist. I get paid through DistroKid, which is like the website I put my music out through.
Yeah.
But there's like a 6-week delay or something like that.
Oh.
So I've always wondered if I went from like 0 to 1 million like that, like super quick, like there'd be a 6-week period where I'm just like, I'm not getting any money,
you're just
but I have like a chart toppings like song and like a relevant name, and my like bank account has like less than $1,000.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
that'd be funny.
That's interesting. I don't know, man. That'd be
that's
crazy
like the
feeling.
equivalent of winning the lottery.
Yeah, literally. Or like on YouTube, some people post a video. A lot of people post at night, so they'll post at like 7 p.m. and the video will be doing pretty good, and then they go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a guy personally. I used to work with a guy. His YouTube channel is called Random. He does gaming videos, and he literally was like, he quit college and he was at home, and his parents, it was leading up to Christmas time, and his parents told him like, dude, you can't just be sitting in your room doing nothing. Like, they didn't get what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, give me till Christmas, and if nothing happens before Christmas, then I'll go get a job and like move on with my life.
Yeah.
And I think it was like the 20th or the week leading up to Christmas, he went to bed, and the next morning he woke up and he had like 50,000 Twitter notifications because one of his videos had just blown up.
That's that's awesome.
He got recruited to join like one of the gaming teams, and it literally happened in one day. And after that, he could show his mom like, look, it's happening.
Oh my gosh. That's like, I think it was Bryson Tiller. Like he like was getting, like he was an independent artist. Like he was working at like some random store and was like, okay, like my music isn't really working out, but I got one last song. I'll put it out, and then after this, I'm done. He like put it out on SoundCloud or something, like didn't even check on it, and was like at work, and then like someone came up and like recognized him, and he was like a nobody. And they're like, wait, you make music? You're the guy that made this song? I don't know what song it was.
Yeah.
But and then he like looked at his phone, saw that it had like 1 million plays, and he's like, oh, I guess I don't quit actually.
Dang, dude, that's sick.
Like he was probably in his mind like coping with the fact that he just like gave up on music as he was going viral.
Yeah, dude. Dang, that's wild.
Yeah.
All right, guys, moving on here. We have one last segment before we wrap it up, and this is called the Underground Drop of the Week, or I don't know what we're going to call this, but for now we're going to go with Underground Drop of the Week. I'll start. There's a French producer, and I don't know how to say it. I think it's Maunica or Maunica.
I listened. So yeah. What was the album called?
It's called I Need Space.
Yeah.
And Maunica, I don't know. I literally don't know how to say it. I've tried to look him up, but he's this guy and he's French, so forgive me. But I've known about him forever because back in the day, he made these types of songs where like there was no lyrics. A lot of them are like instrumental.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what the genre is until today, which I'll mention in a second, but his songs used to all be copyright free. And so a lot of people in the gaming scene would use his music in their videos. And that's how he blew up, which is really smart because like I remember back in the day, every gaming team in the world would use Logic's music because it was copyright free. And literally the gaming scene is hugely responsible for why Logic is famous today.
That makes sense now.
Yeah. So, anyways, he dropped a new album called I Need Space. Now, I texted Matt before the show because I was like, I don't even know what the genre is called. But I actually looked it up, and it's very interesting. There's a whole genre called trip hop.
Oh,
and
that's what trip hop is.
Yeah, trip hop is a style of dance music, usually slow in tempo, that combines elements of hip hop and dub reggae with softer, more ambient sounds.
Okay.
So what would you have called it? When
I heard it on Apple Music, it said electronic. So I was like, I was assuming electronic meant like closer to dubstep.
Like,
yeah, so I was like, oh, I guess John is into electronic music. I guess I'll check this out. But then I don't know if like there's an official category for what like lo-fi is, but like that's what came to mind was just like hearing like lo-fi beats on like the internet.
Okay, yeah, and that's exactly what I think of when I hear his music. I think of those. There's like these 24/7 live streams of study music.
Yeah. So like the drums sounded like that, but I liked how the production was really like in the name, like spacey. Like it was really like reverby and like it sounded really well done. Yeah. And so I guess that's what trip hop is. That'd be funny if like we just don't know what this is and everyone does. But
yeah, well, it sounds like so. From what I read, I think it started in the 2000s and it started in the UK and it's pretty popular in Europe.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I couldn't find Maunica or Monica. I don't know what it's called. Maunica.
Maunica.
What do you think it's called? What does it look like?
It's like Mounika.
Monica? I don't know.
If it's French, do they say things different?
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so I looked up like what genre is he, and it just came up with other artist names and they all fell under trip hop, so maybe that's it. But what's super interesting is that he's a producer, and most his songs, like some of the songs have words, but they're very like distorted and
they're like, I think they're samples. I could be wrong. It could be like a singer that he chopped up, but like they generally sound like samples.
Now, this is a really dumb question.
No, that's okay.
But like, what exactly constitutes a sample? Like, what does it have to be considered a sample? What does that mean?
I mean, honestly, sampling can be used really, like that term is really loosely used. But in my opinion, it's like taking a song, taking a movie, taking anything, like a pre-recorded anything. It's generally like, you wouldn't be wrong if I said like, yeah, I had my friend play guitar and I sampled it. Like that's not incorrect way to use it, but it's just, that's not what people think. So like I when you think sampling, like I was using it to refer as like, it sounds like he took a random song on the internet, random vocal of whatever.
Or like maybe like a scene from a movie or something.
Yeah.
And just, then they edit it.
Yeah. And then edit it, put it in. Like that's what a lot of like lo-fi beats are, is like they're remixes or like they sample random stuff.
Yeah.
And so like that's what I was thinking of when I said that.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know, guys, if you're into music that's just very chill, like if you're just, I don't know, it gives me vibes of like chilling outside at like a park, like eating lunch or something. I don't know. If you're just into something chill to like study or listen to while you're studying or sleeping or whatever.
It made me think of Twami. Have you heard of that producer?
Yeah.
He produced for John Bellion on his last album, but he has like a whole catalog of his own music where it's just like beats and like a lot of they're mostly like vocal samples over them, and there's like one of Alec Benjamin's song Let Me Down Slowly. It's like really random that he like sampled that song, but like you can go on his like Spotify page and find like 5 albums of just beats, and they're like kind of that lo-fi hip-hop sound.
Yeah, Alec Benjamin is an artist that we should do an artist study on sometime, because we have both known about him for a while.
I met him before I even like really knew who he was.
Really?
Like, because before he opened for John Bellion back in the day, he was just like going in line and like handing out stuff and like little cards with his social media, and I had no clue who he was.
Yeah. All right, well, moving on here. Matt, what's your underground drop of the week?
So for me, my favorite like underground drop it was like a week and a half ago, but Adrian Stresso dropped his EP called 22. It's 5 songs, and judging off of like what he said in like a live stream before he released it, it sounds like it's like 5 songs that he's like gearing up to drop an album this summer, and they're like 5 that didn't quite make the cut, but like he still wanted to put out and like be a body of work of its own. And so there's these 5 songs. They're all like hip hop based songs. Adrian's like my favorite underground artist I've been following for the last 5 years or so, and you've known about him for a few years too.
Yeah, I mean, I only know about him because of you. Like you've been like following this guy's progression and music for like a long time, and I don't know, like it seems like you know more about Adrian Stresso than like a lot of artists. Like,
yeah, and
are you trying to model kind of the way you're going about making music similar to how he is?
Yeah, definitely similar to him, because he's also a guy that like produces, engineers, and like does everything on his own. And so like I've been following him since the album's called 22. It's because he just turned 22, since he was back in like high school dropping like singles and mixtapes. And for me, like the appeal was like, oh, I found a kid that's like making songs about being in high school and like making music. And at the time I was like a freshman, like learning how to make beats, and I'm like, wow, this is like the first rap songs I've heard that are like 100% relevant to my life. So like it was inspiring to see like his growth and progression throughout the years to like where he is now. But anyways, my favorite songs off the EP were Better Off and Burn the Bridge. I don't know if you got a chance to listen
Burn the Bridge a lot. I've listened to all of, honestly, like I think that my favorite songs on projects are really dependent on the time and the place that I listen to them.
I agree.
It's weird. It's like I love the song Catfish. I love what are the other ones?
The last 2 are Chosen One and Nothing Lasts Forever.
Okay, yeah, Nothing Lasts Forever is great too. Like I love every song, but for me, Burn the Bridge is probably my favorite, not because it's better than the others, but just because like I remember where I was, and it like a certain line caught my attention.
Oh yeah.
And like I don't know, if you're in a certain headspace or at a certain place, you connect with certain songs at different times.
100%. That's how I feel. Like whenever I hear an album, like I always go back to like, if I have a memory of my first time hearing it, it's like generally like one of my favorite albums. Yeah. And so like I just thought this was all around really solid project, especially for it being like songs that were almost not necessarily throwaways, but he wasn't even planning on releasing in general. And it sounded like he was like, you know what, I'm just going to throw these on an EP, put it out, and then we'll see what happens. And it seems to be pretty well received.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely excited to hear whatever he drops next. But
yeah, and he is definitely like, I don't know, he's an example of an artist that is definitely underground still, but like has developed an organic, authentic fan base similar to Futuristic.
For sure.
I feel like they're very similar in the way that they're like growing. And I mean, let me pull up his Spotify. I'm curious, like just relatively. Yeah. So he has 92,000 monthly listeners, which like, but it's just consistently been going up and up.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like there's the two types. There's someone like the Arizona Zervas where they're grinding and then it just skyrockets, but that's like rare. It's more common for an like kind of like this
steady
story
growth,
where it's a slow, steady growth and eventually it becomes exponential. But yeah, I don't know. I think Adrian's been doing a great job of just like staying consistent and
For
putting
sure.
out good projects, because he's had 2 full-length albums, right? Are there more?
No, he's I think more than that. He's dropped
How many full-length projects does he have out?
well, I mean, so here's the thing. Like, I've been following him since he was in high school, and he's been putting out mixtapes since he was like 13 or 14.
okay.
Like a couple, like 1 or 2 of them a year. And it's like same thing with me. Like, I was putting out music in high school, but like most of it I took off the internet just because it probably wasn't that good looking back. But
wait, do you still have your song Christopher Nolan up?
No, I don't.
Dude,
I took that one off.
Fire, dog.
Thanks, but
That song's fire. Yo, speaking of Adrian Stezzo, he tweeted. I saw a tweet the other day from him, and he said something like, "My friends never always do a great job of reminding me about my like cringy songs or something." Do your buddies do that? Will they be like, name some song that you dropped when you were like a freshman?
You know, my friends are actually like surprisingly encouraging with like my music when it comes to like.
That's good.
But
They don't tear you apart.
yeah, but I would be lying if I said my brothers were the same.
Oh.
Like my brother the other day, actually Brian, was decided to bring up one of my first mixtape I put out, ironically called the Awkward Mixtape, which is just an awkward all around project, but just like wanted to talk about that. But like, yeah, they definitely throw in some jokes here and there, but I trust my friends a lot, and like I send them a lot of my unreleased stuff and kind of like to get their opinion on it. But yeah,
for sure. Wait, so real quick before we wrap it up, how many projects does he have
okay.
on
So,
Apple Music?
if you include the 22
Yeah.
EP, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 5 projects. One of them is called I'll Explain Later, which is like it was a collection of singles he just put together on one project. But yeah, he dropped his first album in 2017.
Dude, he's 22 years old, just turned 22, and has 5 projects. That really
dude's a
damn
beast.
good.
Yeah,
so.
especially when he's like, you consider that he's producing, and he's honestly more not known, but like has a bigger step with like his engineering and like mixing. Like he mixes for guys like he's mixed for Arizona Zervas, he's mixed for Futuristic, he's mixed for Justin Stone, and those are just people that we just mentioned.
Yeah. Did he go on tour? Because you've seen him in concert before.
Yeah, I saw him in down in Phoenix last November. He went on tour with Justin Stone, and then before that, I know he went on tour with Ryan Carevu. How do you say his name?
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. Ryan Caraveo?
Yeah,
what is it? I don't know.
He's a dope artist, but and then I know he's also opened for some festivals that have had artists like Tory Lanez and like some huge names. But
yeah. Cool. Well, there you go, guys. Hopefully you all enjoyed this episode. If you guys have any recommendations or any connections with any sort of artist that is on the come up or really talented, let us know. If they, I guarantee pretty soon we're going to start getting DMs from people that are not good at all, but like think they're good.
That's how it works.
Yeah. So don't send us someone who's trash, but if you actually got like a connection with someone who,
yeah, if you want to see them freestyle on here, we'd love to have that happen.
Yeah, for sure. Or maybe you're listening and you're an artist yourself. Our DMs are open. We'll respond to everybody. So just be sure to follow us on Instagram at NAS Podcast. That's NAS Podcast. Which, by the way, we didn't even realize, but it's connects
us to one of the greatest rappers of all time.
Nas. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. But you can also follow us on Twitter at Not a Sheep Pod. What? Not a Sheep Podcast?
Is that what it is on Twitter? We should probably
know our Twitter by now. Yeah, but
it's on the screen.
Listen, the Twitter, we're trying to change the @ because we want at NAS Podcast like we have on Instagram, but there's an account that has been inactive for 4 years and has 1 follower, and their DMs are private. So I don't know how we're going to get that account. But
if you want to help us, just report their account. And if enough people report it, maybe Twitter will notice.
Yeah, maybe that'll work. So anyways, Matt, where can the people follow you if they want to see the different things you're doing in the music world?
Oh, yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram at matt.mogg. That's Matt Mogg. And then you can follow me on Twitter at matt_mogg. Yeah, and all my music is on Spotify, Apple Music, every platform you can think of. And if you just look up Matt Mogg, it'll come right up.
Yeah, for sure. You guys can follow me at Hey Narwhal on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. But the biggest thing I ask is if you guys are a fan of the show, if you could leave a review on the Apple Podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and just write a review. It literally will take you 15 seconds max to do the whole thing. You just find our podcast on the Apple Podcast app, scroll to the bottom, and it's right there. It'd mean a lot to us, and it helps more people find the show. So also, like I said at the beginning, my ultimate dream is to basically have a production company of different podcasts that I produce and that I also co-host with my buddies. And that's the dream. And so we have another podcast that's been going for a year and a half called Peaked in Middle School. Matt's been on it 2 or 3 different times now. So if you guys want to check that out, it's on every platform. It's on YouTube. Be sure to check it out. We want to kind of grow all these fan bases together and have a cool little unit. So anyways, with all that being said, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.
See ya.